Hello my friends, welcome to FHP Books. Today I want to briefly talk about Mafia movies. I have published a book on Amazon about Mafia films. It's a guide, a comprehensive guide made in chronological order about Mafia films, about this fascinating genre from the 30s to almost to the current times. The first of the movies I talk about is one of these older classics from the 30s. I talk also about the original Scarface by Howard Hawks from 1932 with Paul Mooney, and also other classic gangster movies with James Cagney, and this kind of films I talk about in my book. And the last ones in the chronological order, one of the last ones is of course The Irishman by Martin Scorsese from 2019, and everything in between. So I of course talk about the Godfather trilogy by Francis Ford Coppola with Marlon Brando, and in particular I like to compare what is showed in the movie with what supposedly happened in real life, because many of these mafia movies, many of these gangster movies are based in true facts. Many of them are based on real events, and for instance we have Goodfellas by Martin Scorsese, Casino also by Martin Scorsese. Both of these movies are based in real life events, in real criminal biographies, in the real story. For instance, Goodfellas is based in the story of Henry Hill, who was an Irish-Italian mobster, an Irish-Italian gangster who was associated to the Mafia in New York, and his story is portrayed by Ray Liotta in Goodfellas. We also have in Goodfellas, we have of course Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Paul Sorvino, and other great actors. And Casino is based in the story of a guy named Ace Rothstein, a Jewish guy who was controlling the casino, one big casino in Las Vegas for the Chicago mob in the 60s and 70s. So both of these stories are based in real life events. In The Godfather we have some real events going on in the background. For instance, in the second part we have the Cuban Revolution, because before this Cuban Revolution the Mafia was established in Cuba with their casinos, with other businesses going on, and afterwards they moved to Las Vegas. So the stories are connected somehow, and that's some interesting facts from real life that are shown in these Mafia movies. Also, of course, the great movie Donnie Brasco with Al Pacino and Johnny Depp from 1997 tells us the story of FBI agent Joe Pistone, who infiltrated the Bonanno crime family in the 70s. His story is told to us in this amazing movie that, in my opinion, is very underrated. It's quite underrated film. Also the Gotti movie from 1996, that is actually a film that went directly to television, from HBO, I think, with Armand Assante as John Gotti. Armand Assante was the actor that played Gotti in this movie, that played the gangster boss of the Gambino family, John Gotti. And Armand Assante did an amazing job, in my opinion, much better than John Travolta in another Gotti movie that came some years later. But Gotti from Robert Harmon is the director, is also a very, very underrated mafia film, in my opinion. So in my book I talk about real mobster stories as well, because I like to illustrate the context of the stories, and I like to compare what we see in the movie with what we know about the real story in which the movie is based. So, my friends, take a look at my book. You will find a lot of interesting stuff there. You will find a lot of interesting reviews, analysis. The analysis of the Godfather trilogy is quite big, could be a booklet on its own. So if you are interested in Mafia subjects, if you are interested in Mafia movies, take a look at my book. I mainly talk about the original Mafia, about the Italian and Italian-American Cosa Nostra, about the original Mafia. I don't talk that much about other organized crime gangs, but there are some exceptions. For instance, I also include in my book a review of Once Upon a Time in America by Sergio Leone, which is an Italian director, but paradoxically his contribution to these gangster movies is not about the Italian Mafia, it's about the Jewish mob. Main actor is Robert De Niro, of course, and yeah, you can watch also this movie if you haven't. It's a very interesting movie, but personally I like The Godfather more than Once Upon a Time in America, even if Sergio Leone is one of my favorite directors. So I also talk about the remake of Scarface, I talk about the original Scarface from the 30s, and also about the remake from 1983 by Brian De Palma, which is also not about the Italian or Italian-American Mafia, is about some Cuban drug dealer, Tony Montana. So this is also one exception in my book. There are a few exceptions where I talk about other criminal organizations by other kinds of mob, other kinds of gangster organizations, but mainly it's about the Italian and Italian-American Mafia. And most or many, at least many of these movies are based in real events, and I compare what we see in the movie with what supposedly happened in real life. So if you are curious to know more, if you want to know more about this stuff, about this subject, if you like Mafia movies, if you are interested in the Mafia, as such, as a subject, don't hesitate to take a look at my book, Mafia Films, a guide, and thank you very much for your attention, and see you in the next time. Goodbye.